The Supreme Court has said that any sort of interference onto your personal property to gather information about you, even a small amount of information, amounts to a Fourth Amendment invasion of privacy. We don't know what they're doing with this information right now, and that's partly why we filed a lawsuit.
Wow. How about this story? So we had a segment on this story yesterday, got a lot of feedback. We want to continue to cover it. That was our next guest in response to the Massachusetts Department of Public Health working in coordination with Google to put tracking software on thousands of cell phones during the pandemic without your consent.
Yeah, unbelievable. For more on this, let's welcome in attorney for New Civil Liberties Alliance, Sheng. Thanks for joining us. So when we talked about this story yesterday, I couldn't believe it. I live in Massachusetts. Of course, I was checking my phone and making sure the app wasn't even on there. So you're challenging the Massachusetts Department of Health's policy of automatically downloading this app to people's property. Tell us what happened in Massachusetts during the pandemic.
So sometime in 2021, the Massachusetts Department of Health developed an app using code that Google provided, and then worked with Google to automatically download this app onto well over 1 million Android devices across the Commonwealth. And it infected people who were traveling to Massachusetts too. If you lived in New Hampshire and just worked in Massachusetts and commuted, it was put on your device, even if you're just vacationing there. And what's different from this app compared to other apps that other states have developed is that it's not for voluntary download, that it just automatically showed up on your phone. And what's worse, it doesn't show up on your home screen like a normal app. You actually have to go into settings, see all my apps, and then you can see it. And there it's as clear as day, an app called Massachusetts Department of Health. They left their name on there, so it was really easy to figure out who did it.
Oh, my goodness. So what's weird is no one can tell us exactly what they were looking for. I mean, I'm just assuming that they wanted to keep tabs on people, particularly in a state like Massachusetts where the lockdowns were as draconian as they got back in 2020. Is that what the thinking is here?
What the app does, it tracks your proximity data. So if you get close to someone else and it uses Bluetooth technology to figure out that you two are close, it tracks that and puts a timestamp data on that. And then if you do report getting COVID, it'll send out a signal to everyone that you've been in close contact with and tell them that they may have been exposed as well. But what this requires is it's creating a database of everyone you've been in, within 10 or 15 feet within a certain period of time. You know exactly when you were at your neighbor's house, when you were at a particular restaurant. And that's really insidious information that could be used to kind of reverse engineer someone's habits and travel. And that sort of thing. Yeah,
it's just the fact that people knew where people were. It's just crazy. Did this happen in other states?
Other states developed similar apps, but they were for voluntary download. In our law, if you voluntarily share your information, that's not a government Fourth Amendment violation. But if the government comes and forces and intrudes upon you without your consent and takes that information, that's where we see a constitutional problem.
All right, two quick ones. So with that information, if they were going to say, well, you weren't 6 feet apart on April 26th, you were standing right near, John Doe, so now you're in trouble. What were they going to do with it? What was Is that no? Go ahead.
I don't think they were going to get you in trouble. The idea was to create a system where people could be warned through this app. And again, if it was a voluntary participation, that's one thing. But
right.
Here,
but it wasn't.
They just put it in your phone.
That is, at least Bush passed, got the Patriot Act through. This was all without consent. No one knew about this. Just quickly, about 20 seconds, what happens next?
So we're at the motion to dismiss stage, where it's interesting, where the government has actually agreed that they worked with Google and gotten a lot of data from Google. But they're saying that the program has ended because the national emergency has ended, and therefore the case should be dismissed. And we're trying to continue the case because our argument is that all the data that they've received should be deleted.
Wow. Sure. All right.
Keep us posted, Sheng Li. We appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thank you.